Hey everybody, Aaron Dillon here, Managing Director of AG Dillon & Co. I got a pre-IPO company update for the week ending March 15, 2024. Let's get into it. Stripe, the online payments company, announced significant growth in milestones in its 2023 annual letter, underscoring its influence in the payments and financial technology sectors. In 2023, Stripe surpassed $1 trillion in total payment volume, marking a 25% increase from the previous year. This growth rate notably outpaces the 7.6% increase in U.S. e-commerce. The company achieved this milestone 15 years after its founding, compared to PayPal, which achieved the same milestone in just 2021. That's 23 years after its inception. Stripe's valuation increased to $65 billion following a recent tender offer, indicating a strong market confidence despite dropping from its peak valuation of $95 billion in 2021. There wasn't even a secondary market transaction that was much higher than that, too. The company emphasized its cash flow positivity in 2023, expecting the trend to continue into 2024, signaling financial stability and independence from capital market volatility. Stripe's enterprise segment and its revenue and finance automation products show remarkable growth, with RFA expected to reach a $500 million annual run rate, showcasing revenue diversity and potential for high margin revenue. Despite a downturn in venture capital funding, Stripe witnessed record startup formation in 2023. These are their clients, with startups founded in 2022 being 60% more likely to start generating revenue within their first year compared to those founded in 2019. That's great growth. This trend is particularly notable among AI companies, which saw a 249% increase in aggregate revenue in 2023. Sacra has Stripe's 2022 revenue at $14.4 billion. It's a big company, so I assume that this number jumped to over $17 billion in 2023. That would put Stripe at a 3.x revenue multiple, which I believe is very attractive valuation multiple for a business of this size and growing so quickly. You can buy these shares on the secondary market, so if you like them, give me a shout. Telegram, the instant messaging and phone app known for its privacy and encryption, is exploring an initial public offering, according to founder Pavel Durov. With revenue in the hundreds of millions of dollars from advertising and subscriptions added over the past 2 years, Telegram seeks independence and broader access to its value through an IPO. The platform has grown to 900 million monthly users, up from 500 million in early 2021, and is on track to reach 1 billion users by the end of 2024. That's a lot. Despite its rapid growth, Telegram maintains a lean operation with about 50 full-time employees and has received offers from investors valuing the company at over $30 billion. That is a ton of money. The company has raised approximately $2 billion in debt financing through various bond offerings since 2021, with bondholders eligible for equity conversion at a discount if an IPO occurs before March of 2026. That's a convertible note, I would think. Durov, who also founded Vakanati, I said that wrong, fled Russia after refusing to comply with government demands, emphasizes Telegram's commitment to free speech and plans to introduce AI features and expand revenue opportunities for the channel creators. Telegram's moves towards an IPO and its monetization efforts reflect its growth and independence aspirations amidst the competitive messaging app market. So to drive this home, at a $30 billion valuation and only $2 billion of dilution from these convertible notes, that's an average of $560 million valuation per employee. That is just incredible. So I hope Telegram can pull this IPO off and lock in that $30 billion valuation. I just love to see this. Best of luck to those guys. On March 14, 2024, this week, SpaceX's Starship, the world's largest and most powerful rocket, achieved orbital velocity for the first time on its historic third test flight from South Texas. The mission was a wild success and accomplished several critical objectives. The 400-foot tall rocket, powered by 33 first-stage Raptor engines, demonstrated significant improvements, including successful hot staging between its stages and the ship re-entering Earth's atmosphere, delivering some incredible shots of a plasma field. SpaceX aims to have at least 4 more Starship test flights this year. Starship rocket will play a key role in NASA's Artemis 3 mission, which aims to land humans on the moon by 2026. Starship has 5x the payload capability, payload capacity of the current Falcon 9 rocket, and it has a lower cost per launch. So this will result in increased revenue and profit for SpaceX. SpaceX delivered $9 billion in 2023 revenue and is forecasting $15 billion in 2024 revenue. The company effectively has a monopoly on space payload delivery. Who competes? China? No one else, right? Not as frequently as they're delivering payload, that's for sure. And satellite internet. They have a monopoly there. That's their Starlink business. Starlink now has 2.6 million customers paying $110 per month for the service. That's $3.4 billion of annual recurring revenue. SpaceX has $184 billion secondary market valuation. That's up 2% from its January 2024 tender at $180 billion. I estimate that the Starlink business alone is $103 billion of that 180. That's that revenue number and a 30 times revenue multiple. I have to think that's the case. They went from 0 to 2.6 million subscribers in like 2 years' time. They're forecasted to do 10 billion of the $15 billion of 2024 revenue for the company. I got to think that's a 30x revenue multiple. The AG Dillon SpaceX Pre-IPO stock fund is currently accepting new investors. So if you're an RIA or IBD and you have clients that want SpaceX and are interested in getting exposure, please reach out and give me a call. Former Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin is assembling an investor group to potentially acquire TikTok from ByteDance amid legislative pressures threatening the app's operations in the U.S. The House of Representatives recently passed a bipartisan bill awaiting Senate decision and President Biden's approval, which mandates ByteDance to divest TikTok or face a ban in the United States. This legislation reflects concerns over TikTok's Chinese ownership, highlighting issues of data privacy and national security. Mnuchin's investment firm Liberty Strategic Capital, where SoftBank Vision Fund is a limited partner, is exploring the acquisition. TikTok has an estimated 170 million U.S. users. ByteDance has a $268 billion valuation in a December 2023 share buyback. Although the U.S. segment's valuation remains unspecified, the app's algorithm, a significant asset, poses a legislative concern due to its Chinese development. Mnuchin's efforts come amid broader discussions on TikTok's influence and ownership, with potential interest from other significant figures like former Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick. TikTok's stance against the bill and the Chinese government potential resistance to the sale underscores the complexity of the issue. I'm already reading about negative sentiment on this from the Senate. Silicon Valley obviously hates it, and you know that the lobbyists are going to be out in force trying to kill the bill. That said, it would be interesting to see TikTok's valuation if it's separated from ByteDance, the parent company. ByteDance had $120 billion in 2023 revenue, $120 billion in revenue. That's up 20% versus 2022, by the way. And at a $268 billion valuation, that's only a 2.4x revenue multiple. For a company that's growing 20% year-over-year revenue, that is very small for that size of business. So it's really low, in my opinion. I have to assume this is a result of the Chinese parent ownership. It's that kind of negative overhang on the company's valuation. TikTok's U.S. revenue was $16 billion in 2023, big business. Meta, which has a very similar business with Instagram and Facebook, has a revenue multiple of 9.58x. So applying TikTok's U.S. revenue, you get to Meta's valuation multiple, you get a $153 billion valuation. That's a massive value unlock. So oddly, if I'm a ByteDance investor, I may be rooting for the U.S. government to force this divestiture to happen. It seems like I could make a lot more money. Okay, last up is pre-IPO stock performance as of March 11, 2024. This week's winners, we got Chime up 28.6%, eToro's up 21.9%, Scale AI up 20.5%, Ramps up 12.3%, and Flexport's up 7.2%. This week's losers, we got Consensus down 9.8%, OpenAI down 4.5%, ByteDance down 3.1%, Rippling down 2.1%, and Chainalysis down 1.7%. Top valuations, we mentioned ByteDance that they're $276 billion, SpaceX at $184 billion, OpenAI at $103 billion, Stripe's at $68 billion, and Databricks is at $49 billion. See more current valuation and performance data on X. Just look for my handle. It's Aaron G. Dillon. Okay, that's it for me this week. If you have any pre-IPO stock research needs, please reach out. Thanks, and see you next week.